Hello, hello, how are you today? I have another art project for you. It is again something that can be a Mother's Day gift or present. So if you have any moms or grandmoms in the room, you might want to ask them to leave so that this can be a surprise, okay? So let me tell you about what you're going to need and then we'll get started. First, you need 2 pieces of paper. It's okay if they are just printer paper or copy paper. If you have watercolor paper, you can use that, or you can use construction paper, but you don't need to. Printer paper is completely fine. You will need some paints. Watercolor paints would be great. If you don't have that, you could use your markers, you can use your crayons, whatever, something to give color to this paper. You'll need some scissors, you'll need a glue stick, and I'm going to use a chopstick. It's a wooden chopstick. This is nice because you can paint it. This will be the stem of the flower, so you may want to see if you have chopsticks. If you don't, you can use a straw. Or if you don't have that, you can go outside and find an actual twig or stick off of a tree and get permission to cut off a little twig. It doesn't have to be straight. It can have a little crookedness or a little turn to it. Okay, so that's what you need. So why don't you go ahead, gather up those items while I get the camera set up so that we can look down on the desk and get started on the project. I'll see you in just a minute. All right, welcome back. We're ready to go. Now, ahead of time, I did this because I need to be working with dry paper, but you're going to have to do yours now and then you can set it aside to dry. So I would like you to paint your paper. Paint one green, please. Any shade of green, or even a couple different greens, but cover the whole thing. And then the other one, any kind of color that you want for your flower. I chose this nice bright pink. Okay, so those are done ahead of time. I did not yet do my stick, so let me do that for you real fast. Let's see here. Here's a nice green. I'm just going to paint this stick. I'm using acrylic paints, but it will take your watercolor paints if you have watercolor paints. And guess what? You could use your markers too. If you have markers, you can use a marker on this, or you can use, I bet you could even use color crayons to color this stick. So I'm trying to get it all the way up here to this end. I'm going to get pretty painty, but that's okay. Always get painty in art class. Okay, so I have painted the whole entire thing, and I'm going to set it aside over here to dry while we work on this paper. Okay, now let's start with the green one first. Make sure it's good and dry. You have to leave it outside in the sun or something for a while, a couple of hours maybe, or 1 hour if it's really bright. So I need you to take it and fold it in half the long way so that it's tall and skinny. So line up your corners. If you need help, get some help, and then fold it, okay? Then I need you to turn it so the fold is closest to you, okay? So I'm right here. Here's my fold. Fold has to be closest to you. Okay, it opens this way. This is the fold. Then you need to get your scissors, please. And I think that you can do this without drawing lines, because it will take quite a long time for you to draw the lines that I want. So instead, I'm going to ask that you cut this paper starting on the fold, right? See how thick or thin that is? Okay, now look down here at the end. For me, it's almost 2 fingers left of the paper where I stopped. So I cut all the way to there, right? And then I stopped. Don't cut all the way to the end. You want to leave this attached, okay? So I'm going to cut all the way across this piece of paper about this thick. If some of them are a little thinner or a little thicker, it's okay. What we don't want is big fat guys like that. We want them to be thin. So I'm going to cut this, and I'll speed up the video so you don't have to watch this whole thing. Okay, whew, that took a long time. I bet you didn't know I could cut so fast, right? All right, now, there is something I forgot to tell you. I always forget something. I don't know, I guess I'm human. Before you cut, and it's okay if you already cut and you didn't do it because I forgot to do it. Before you cut, I wanted you, and I wanted me, but I forgot, to put glue stick down one of the long edges and then glue this together. So if you already cut, you can glue now, like me. If you didn't cut, you can be smart and glue ahead of time, okay? So now that you're done with that, you're going to let's do it this way. We're going to first fold it, lining up the corners, okay? And then let's put the glue on this one first. So you only need to put it on one side, all the way down, then fold that back and press it. Remember, we don't have to go boom, 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 boom to make the glue stick. You just press it and it'll stick, okay? Now, I have to go to a meeting with Mr. Love and Mr. Moore about their weekly video that they do, and so I'm going to have to come back later and finish this. So when I come back, I will have this all cut, and you don't need to see that anyway because it's just like cutting this green one. You're going to do the exact same thing. So when I get back, I'll meet you here, and hopefully you will maybe have both of yours cut. If you don't, that's okay. You can watch this whole video and cut them at the end. But I'm going to have mine cut out for you, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. All right, I am back from my meeting and ready to finish this off with you. Okay, so by now you should have already painted your stick. If it's a chopstick, if it's just a stick from the yard, you don't have to paint it. You should have two of these, one colorful and one green, and we're going to need your glue stick. So let's put the green one aside for right now. And by the way, if you accidentally cut crooked and one of these got cut off or is cut a little short or is missing or is crooked, don't worry about it because in nature there is no perfect flower at all. Everything has something unique and different about it. So it will make it a unique and special gift from you unlike any other. So let's not even worry about that. Okay, this is how we start. You want to lay your pink one down on the table so that these little cuts are over here and the part that you previously glued together is here on your right hand side. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue stick and glue right on here, and I need to put quite a good amount of glue on here just to make sure that everything is going to stick. But notice I'm not going all the way up because it may dry before I get there. So I'm going to put some on. I'm putting it all the way up to where, as far as I cut. And just for good luck, I'm going to put a little bit on the stick too. Only need to put it right up here at the top of the stick for now. Okay, now you're going to take your stick and you're going to lay it down so that the end of the stick is right where the end of the cut is, or maybe the stick's a little bit farther past the cut. This is what I mean. If this is the cut and it goes all the way to right there, you don't want your stick to go way past that. You want your stick to go even with where the cut is. Okay, so I'm going to lay that down, and very carefully I'm going to start turning the stick, and I'm pressing on the paper so that as I roll the stick, I'm just making sure that the paper with all that glue on is really firmly sticking. It's kind of like rolling a sleeping bag or something else. I'm carefully rolling. Now your stick may want to start going a little crooked. It's your job to try to keep it straight. It's also your job to every once in a while, let's make sure that glue doesn't dry out. So I'm going to do a couple of rolls because I know that I have fresh glue right there. Look at what it's starting to look like, okay? And it does naturally want to roll crooked, kind of like the stick wants to go that way, but I'm really keeping it where it needs to be. Okay, look, I ran out of glue, so I got to put some more glue on, and I'm putting it on pretty thick because I really want this thing to stick. If you only have white glue, like the squeezy bottle of Elmer's white glue, you can still use that. You don't have to have a glue stick. Okay, so look what's happening over here. It's getting puffed up. Let's do one more roll. Okay, I think I need some more glue. So I'm going to put a little bit more. If I had glued this whole length of the paper all the way to the end, it would be dry at the end by now because I'm not just rolling fast. I'm carefully taking my time to roll this straight, and the glue could dry out if you put too much on. So here we go, a little bit more. All right, make sure your stick doesn't pull out. It should be in there pretty far, and that probably will be okay, and it won't pull out, but it will want to go a little crooked, so you're going to have to really try to keep that straight. On the last bit here, more glue all the way to the end. Maybe I'll even put a little bit right here on the, I don't know if you can see, but I put a little bit on the flower just so I had extra. Okay, I'm rolling that all the rest of the way around. You can lift it up off the table too and hold it like this to roll it if it's easier. You just want to roll it really tightly. See, can you see how tightly wound it is around the stick? It's sort of hard to tell, but it's not loose and flappy. Okay, now you may want to hold this for a minute. If you are doing something like waiting for your turn to, I don't know, play Foursquare. I'm making it up because I know you're not playing Foursquare. But if you're waiting, if you're watching TV and it's the commercial, why don't you hold this for about one commercial or something like that? Or count to 50 or count to 100. And while you're holding it, squeeze it and press it so that look at how hard I'm squeezing. My hands are shaking. Okay? All right, so don't do anything else with this yet. Let's put it back down here. Now you need to get your green. All right, now just like the other, this is where the cut end is. And on the right is where we had glued it together before. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put some glue on here all the way up to where the end of that cut happens. And I did the color first because this is going to represent the green, like the leaves, and so it needs to be around the outside edge of the pink stuff. Unless you have a green flower, I suppose you could have a green flower if you want. You're doing the exact same thing though. You're rolling it, and then when you run out of glue, put some more glue on. I'm kind of really having to fight with this to keep it going straight because it just wants to go crooked. So if you start to get frustrated, ask somebody for help. And you know, you can make as many of these as you want because this would be beautiful for a Mother's Day gift. And if you had more than one, you would have a whole bouquet maybe, or 2 or 3 or something like that. Okay. A little more glue. Look at that, my whole table is shifting. A little more glue again. I think I'm going to lift it up now. Nope, it's easier for me to do it this way. Take your time. If the glue dries out, just put some more glue on. You will find as you roll more, it gets harder to do because you're rolling a much thicker. You're rolling all this paper around paper that's already been wound around here. And let's do a little bit here and a little bit, and this is going to be my last bit. And that goes all the way around. Okay, now here we go. This one is even more important, I think, than the first one, to really squeeze it on there and hold it. I have a crooked piece. And hold it so that it can dry for a while. Okay, now, once you feel like it's good and dry, look at how I pinched that on there. It's really on. Okay, and that's why I use so much glue. I might even go like this. I don't want to crunch up this stuff, but I might really squeeze around the base of that and get that really dry. Now, when it's maybe give it 5 minutes or something, but so for our video, I can't wait that long. So now, you shake it up a little bit or open it up a little bit like this. Okay, you have a beautiful flower with this green all the way around the outside. You could maybe wrap them around your finger and maybe curl them a little bit. I don't know, play around with it. If you could bend some, like do a little fold if you want, or you can just leave them like this. You might even push them a little bit. There, how about that? It's going to be up to you. If you don't like that, straighten them back out again. Just use your finger and kind of like brushing your hair or combing your hair. Okay, so beautiful. You have a nice flower, and I'm going to let this dry even longer. Then you can make, like I said, as many as you want, and then you could say, "Here, Mom, Happy Mother's Day, I love you." All right, that's all I have for you for today. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to send pictures, and I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.